In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gotta love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I am your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so glad that you made space to be here with us today. Now, before we get into today's episode, do me a quick favor. If you're feeling the vibes, go ahead and show us some love. Tap the screen, like, comment, and be sure to share this out with someone who might need a little healing energy today. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Be sure to hit that follow button, subscribe to the channel, so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. I also want to personally invite everyone to go check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you will find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch and a lot of free resources to help nourish your growth and remind you that you're supported every step of the way. Just know that you don't have to do this alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So today, give yourself permission to pause, reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, but most importantly, for you. Now, if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop a green heart in the chat. It's our way of saying, I'm healing, I'm growing, and I'm showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. Who we got in the house today? I see Miss Sherry hanging out on YouTube with us. We got LaShonda, Kel, Outspoken, Faye, Tay, No Fear, No Doubt in the building on the north side. We have Love and Respect, Oakland, California. Buddha, Queen Anne hanging out on the south side. Welcome into all of you, to all of our new people, all of our visitors and guests. We hope you become family, right? We hope we don't run y'all off after today's episode. Because listen, y'all, I want to be clear about today's episode. This isn't going to be one of those, soft surface level motivational talks that, you half listen to while you scroll through social media. Okay. Today we are diving straight into the deep. And so I got to warn you, it might get a little messy today, but we know that healing is a little bit messy, right? AT, right? Healing's not always pretty. Healing ain't all yoga mats and sage and positive affirmations, right? I mean, we need those things, but that's not what it's all about. Sometimes healing is ugly crying in your car in the Target parking lot because you just realize you're the problem, right? It's not them, it's me. Healing is sitting in silence with that uncomfortable thought that maybe I've been the one sabotaging my own peace. Healing is admitting that I've been so busy pointing fingers at my ex, at my boss, at my parents, at my so-called friends, that I forgot to look in the mirror. Because that's healing too. Hey, Mr. T, welcome in. And listen, I'm not saying this to beat you up, okay? I'm not trying to hurt y'all, but I'm saying this because I've been there, right? I've thrown shade at everybody else when really the smoke was coming from me. Let me ask y'all a quick question. Let me see who's paying attention today. A little riddle for you. What is something that is easy to throw but hard to catch? What's something that is easy to throw but hard to catch? Mr. T said air. Nope. Easy to throw, but hard to catch. Anybody? Y'all gonna laugh when I tell y'all the answer. Blame. Right track, wrong train. Keep trying. You really up in there though, sis. Anybody else want to try a guess? Try your hand at my riddle. What's easy to throw but hard to catch? No, I got y'all. Don't worry about it. The answer is shade. Shade. Right? We can throw shade all day. Oh, but when it's directed back to us, we don't know what to do. Right? We be over there like, she's talking to me. But see, the thing is, if you could throw it, you got to be prepared to catch it, right? And some of y'all, matter of fact, let's be real. Some of us, I ain't even gonna say some of y'all, some of us, right? Some of us have gotten real good at throwing shade, right? We will blame the whole entire world for why we are not happy, why our relationships keep failing, why we keep going in circles. But here's the gag, y'all. Very few of us ever stop long enough to catch ourselves, to say, wait a minute, maybe the problem ain't them, maybe it's me, right? LaShonda, you know about becoming the villain in your own story, right? It's me. And family, that right there, that's the messy truth that nobody ever wants to talk about. But today we going there. We gonna talk about it. Because freedom doesn't come from pretending that you're the victim in every single story. Freedom comes from the courage to admit that sometimes you've been your own storm. So buckle up, buttercups, because if your toes get stepped on, just know that it's out of love. I just want you to pause, say ouch, and we're gonna keep it moving. All right, that's my warning, y'all. That's my disclaimer for today's podcast. So be ready. Okay. So let's just dive right in and let's talk about the messy real. And I'm gonna start with the common denominator, right? Understanding that sometimes we are the common denominator. You can't keep saying that every relationship that you get in, your partner was a narcissist. Like, we have to stop pretending like it's bad luck. Either you've got the worst luck in history, or there's something unhealed inside of you that keeps attracting the same people over and over and over again. Maybe, they remind you of your first heartbreak, your absentee parent, or your childhood friend who betrayed your trust. See, trauma has a way of dressing up as love. And until you recognize it, you're just signing up for this heartbreak on repeat. Think about those viral TikTok clips, right? Of someone dating the wrong type over and over and over again. And, the caption always reads, "Me learning nothing from my past." Right? That be us sometimes, right? Right? That's us. Come on, Queen Energy only. I see you sincerely. Y'all. And let's get into work. Y'all don't want to talk about relationships this morning? That's cool. Let's get into work. You can't keep saying that they don't appreciate me. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe sometimes that's true at work, right? But how often are you late? Welcome in, Cardi. How often are you late? How often do you zone out, scrolling on your phone or gossiping in the break room? That's not oppression, right? That's just your lack of accountability. As Maya Angelou said, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. And it's like, you can quote it on the wall, but if you don't act on it, your boss isn't going to promote you and your coworkers aren't going to respect you because, what are you giving them? Right? Come on, loving him more than he ever planned to love me. I see you up there. Okay, work too real for y'all. Let's talk about these friendships. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the friendships, y'all. You keep saying all these women are jealous of me. That's why I don't have no friends. Right? The women are too catty. They're just jealous. They're envious of what I have. Sis, let me just tell you something. Every friendship, if every single friendship that you have crashes the same way, maybe the problem isn't them. Maybe it's you. Maybe you ghost people when they call you out. Maybe you're disloyal or self-centered. Maybe you're holding grudges for years while thinking that you're morally superior. Y'all remember the Mean Girls? Remember that? Yeah, them friendships. On the Mean Girls, remember Regina George was toxic. Like, she was chaotic. She was manipulative, right? But her friends were just mirrors showing her what she refused to see. And y'all, that doesn't just happen in the movies. That happens in real life too. And if we're gonna talk about if we're gonna talk about the friends, we also gonna talk about the family, because y'all know everybody can get it with me. Good morning, friend. Everybody can get it with me. Family is not exempt, right? But you can't keep saying my family doesn't support me, or without taking a moment to say, okay, how often do I actually show up for them? Or am I the person who only calls them when I need something? See, some of y'all are out here waiting for apologies and recognition that isn't coming, while you are absolutely ignoring that you've contributed to the drama, that you are a part of the drama, right? I think about Black Panther, T'Challa, right? Yeah, not T'Challa, King, right? The struggle for him wasn't just coming from outside enemies. It was about what was happening inside the families too, right? The legacy, the patterns. Sometimes the chaos is in your home, in the mirror, in yourself. And see, social media plays a part in this too, right? When you're on social media, you love to get out there and scream, nobody gets me, no one understands me. But your Instagram and your TikTok and whatever other timeline tells a complete different story. You're broadcasting your life, your pain, your victories, but then you're acting shocked when people respond or they judge you or they call you out. Right? Y'all remember that viral clip of somebody recording a meltdown live and saying nobody understands me? Right? And we were all sitting there watching it like, no, we get it. We understand. I think that RuPaul said it best when he said, what was it? He said, when you become the image of your own imagination, it's time for you to step back and check yourself. Y'all remember that? Did y'all ever hear that? When you become the image of your own imagination, it is time for you to step back and check yourself. Right? Y'all need more examples? Because I done wrote down a lot of them. Let's talk about music. We love music, right? We all click through music. I met some of y'all because of music. Yeah, we know that music is therapy, right? But it's also truth telling, right? There's so much truth wrapped into the music. How many times, ladies, be honest, how many times have y'all played Irreplaceable and thought this is about them? Right? This is about them. That song Irreplaceable, when she was like to the left, y'all thought it was all about him. Right? When really it was about noticing the patterns that you tolerated. That song was more about the patterns of bad behavior that she allowed to happen. Or what about J. Cole's Love Yours? Thank you, Lady Ingram. J. Cole's Love Yours, right? When you start to realize that you've been chasing everyone else's life instead of your own. That song is giving you mirrors if you're willing to look. Right? Because, excuse me, Patterns repeat until the lesson is learned. So you are going to keep going through the same cycles over and over and over again until the lesson is learned. That's the way life works. Twista, welcome in. Hey, Michael. The lesson isn't blaming, ignoring, or crying on the sidelines. The lesson is catching yourself. Sometimes the enemy ain't them. Sometimes the enemy is the inner me, right? And the only way to break this cycle is through reflection, ownership, and courage. Because as we know, shade is easy to throw. Excuses are easy to make, but growth is hard. It is messy, and it is real, and it is one of the most important things that you can do for you. And so it is time for us to wake up. Everybody type wake up in the chat for me, all caps. Wake up. Sharia, wake up. Because we are about to wake up and understand that it's me. Y'all, it's me. I'm the trauma. Anybody else feel like they could be the trauma? It's me. Pick me. That's right. Wake up. Now listen, y'all. When I say it's me, I'm the trauma, I'm willing to take full accountability for all my mess. 100%. So I want to ask you, at what point are you going to stop and say, it's me? I'm the trauma. And I'm not talking about in a self-hating way. I'm not talking about in a shameful way. I'm just talking about in a very brutally honest, self-aware way. Think about it. You got cheated on 10 years ago. And instead of processing it and healing from it, you're still making every new partner pay for it. You are scanning text messages, questioning motives, overanalyzing every little thing, right? Not because they're doing anything wrong, but because you've never dealt with the ghosts of your heartbreak. You're handing out the past as if it's a fresh wound. And the people around you, they can't fix that, right? It's like they can't even play fair because you're carrying all of this baggage. And you're not supposed to carry that baggage. And if it wasn't a heartbreak, if it wasn't a relationship, maybe your mom didn't show up for you in the ways that you needed her to. So now you self-sabotage every relationship and every friendship because deep down you believe that nobody's going to stay. Right? You cancel plans. You don't respond to texts. You push people away before they can leave you. Right? We see it all the time on TV. Think about the show Insecure. Hey, Brooks, welcome in. Right? That's my show, right? And have you guys ever noticed how Issa is constantly pushing her friends away, her partners away, because she is carrying this generational trauma and she fears being abandoned? Right? Who can admit sometimes that that's them? That's the inner them. Right? That's trauma showing up in real life, disguised as, self-preservation. We think I'm protecting myself when really we're hurting ourselves. And if it wasn't your mom, maybe it was your dad, right? Maybe your dad wasn't constant in your life. And so now you're out here chasing, men who breadcrumb you, right? You only feel enough just because you're chasing these breadcrumbs, right? Just to get what you need so you feel adequate, right? You texting them back, too fast. You're over apologizing. You're not sitting with it. You're over investing because somewhere along the way you learned that your worth was conditional. That's why, so many of us quote Drake's lyrics when we say started at the bottom, now we here, right? Thinking that song is about success. That song is not about success. It's secretly about this emotional grind that we've been navigating since we were kids. And here's the kicker. Then we sit and we cry. We sit and we cry, and now we start to ask ourselves questions, but it's not really the right questions. We start asking ourselves, why do people keep hurting me? Right? But I can answer that question for anybody who's in that space. Why do people keep hurting you? It's because you keep handing them the scissors. You keep handing out pieces of yourself to people who aren't ready to handle it. You stay in relationships and jobs and friendships that don't serve you. And you wonder why you keep bleeding. It's you. And I mean, and I'm sorry, not sorry, but that's just the messy truth about it. It's you. When I think about dating, I think about all those viral TikToks, again, when they keep talking about wrong type. And, me learning nothing from my past. But that's us over and over again. That's our trauma showing up in loops again and again and again. Trauma, the trauma that took place, the situation that happened to you might not be your fault. But carrying it into every single chapter of your life without checking it, that's all you. And, if you're not careful, it's going to show up in ways that you don't even realize, right? You're going to find yourself overreacting to criticism because your last partner invalidated you. You're going to notice that you're ghosting people because rejection feels familiar. Obsessively, controlling situations because the chaos at home was your first lesson in love. Loving people who are unavailable and wondering why they hurt you. This wake up slap for y'all isn't meant to shame you. Nothing in today's conversation or any conversation that I have is ever meant to shame you. It is meant to make you pause, to stare in the mirror and admit, yeah, that's me. I've been showing up as my trauma. It is not them, it is me. Understanding that every single time I point one finger at them, 3 of them are pointing back at me. Because here's the wildest part. When you finally admit it, you gain the power to stop repeating it. And that's the freedom that nobody talks about. That's the messy work. That's the growth. And listen, you don't have to do it alone, right? You might need music to feel it, movies to see it, or memes to laugh at. But at the end of the day, the change comes when you own it and you start rewriting your story. It is a choice that you get to make. You get to choose better. Just like we say, I am not my past. No. You get to choose better. And, speaking of messy patterns that we don't want to admit, I feel like somebody needs to hear this. Somebody needs to hear me when I say this. Sis, let me be honest with you. You don't have haters. You don't. You don't have haters. Hey, lovely. You don't have haters. You have poor communication skills and a nasty attitude. Who said that? Like, y'all see that TikTok when they say something brutally honest, and I'm like, you don't have haters. You just have, poor communication skills and a nasty attitude. Who said that? Right? Y'all know who I'm talking to, right? You're the one talking behind people's back, posting passive aggressive tweets, sliding into DMs, throwing people shade, right? And then you act shocked when people aren't rooting for you. Like, oh, I am appalled, right? I think about every viral clip saying that I don't have haters. I have fans who tell me the truth, right? Have y'all seen that? You have to understand it is really just about accountability knocking and you're refusing to answer. You're not protecting your peace. You're ghosting people instead of having the hard conversations. Someone said something you didn't like or something that you didn't agree with, and now you want to call it a confrontation when they want to talk about it with you, when they want to have the hard conversation with you. But instead, you just decide, I'm going to ghost them. That conversation is too stressful. You're leaving texts unread. You're dodging phone calls. You're unfollowing people, calling it self-care, right? We package that up and label it as a boundary. It's not really a boundary, but go off, right? Because true peace doesn't come from avoidance. Okay? True peace comes in the confronting, the clarifying, then setting boundaries. I don't know if you guys ever watched the movie or series Euphoria. Rue disappears from people who love her instead of communicating with them. She started isolating herself. And all that did was create even more chaos for her. Ghosting people isn't liberation. It's running from your growth. And you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm manifesting." But you're not manifesting. Let's be real. You know, you're financially irresponsible, calling it the devil when, you know, debt catches up with you. Some people are out here spending more than they earn, swiping, you know, credit cards like it's magic and ignoring their bills like they're optional. Right? And then they go on TikTok and they cry that the universe is against them. And then they say, I'm manifesting the life that I want. No, you're messing up the life that you got, right? Manifestation works, but action and accountability are non-negotiable. If your money energy is messy, don't blame karma. Check the numbers. Check your habits. Own it. You can't say I'm manifesting the life that I want while you're shitting on the life that you got. It just doesn't work that way. Okay? And something, I don't know why I feel like saying this, but for my single people, just say ouch now. I'm sorry, not sorry. For the single people, okay? You're not single because there's no good men and no good women in the world. That's not why you're single. Many of you are single because you keep ignoring red flags and you're painting them green. You swipe right on toxicity and you call it a challenge or a growth opportunity. Many of you are excusing cheating and lying and disrespect with lines saying they're just going through it, right? They're just going through some things. Think about every single romantic comedy or viral dating trend, right? The person always keeps choosing drama over stability. And we're sitting here like, dummy, like, why are you doing that, right? Why do you keep picking the drama? And then, you know, then they cry about it. They keep saying, why do I keep attracting this? Well, it's like you just keep auditioning for the wrong role. And, you know, that doesn't even happen just in dating. You know, work, same energy, right? You blame the system. You blame the man. You blame your coworkers, you know. But how often, again, are you showing up late, leaving things half done, refusing to collaborate with other people? Friends, you say people are fake, but maybe you're the flaky one. Maybe you're inconsistent or you're judging them too harshly. You want to talk about family? Maybe you're waiting for them to change while you ignore your role in the reoccurring conflict. You're waiting for your family to change, but when are you going to change? Listen, and I know for some of y'all like, Coach is on one today and everybody done pissed her off. I know it's heavy, right? But let's be honest. We can't heal what we keep talking about, we can't heal what we keep pretending that we don't feel, right? If you don't name it, you can't change it. You can't manifest. You can't protect your peace. You can't blame the world and expect transformation. So naming it, right? Seeing the messy truth, that's step one, right? Today we are on step one. Hey, bro, welcome in. Now, step two is taking ownership, right? We got to own it. That's mine. That is my baggage to carry. Step three is doing the work that nobody wants to talk about. And when I say doing the work that nobody wants to talk about, I'm talking about reflection. I'm talking about accountability. I'm talking about having those hard conversations and sometimes cutting off yourself from your own ego. Let's get into why we stay stuck, right? Cycles repeat because we love comfort more than we love growth. And comfort, y'all, comfort is a sneaky little devil, right? We get comfortable and, that thing slide up and whisper in your ear and it tells you lies disguised as safety. Comfort tells you that I would rather date what's familiar, even if it's toxic. Like, I know this ain't for me, but I'm used to this, right? Think about it. Maybe you've been burned before, but somehow you're still drawn to the same type of partner. The person who ignores you, plays mind games, or breadcrumbs you, right? That feels familiar. I've been down this road and it's not too bad. It feels like home, even though it's absolute chaos. Comfort says, I'd rather blame my boss than admit that I don't like responsibility. We see it all the time at work, right? We complain about, a micromanaging boss or an unresponsive team, but we show up half engaged, procrastinating, refusing to lead, when opportunity knocks. And so that comfort of blame is easier for us to admit. It's easier for us to do than for us to admit that I could do better in my own role. I could, step up. I could speak out. Welcome back, Cardi. Y'all know the show The Office when Michael Scott's chaos, right? And we laugh at Michael all the time because he is just so chaotic. But underlying that humor is a lesson, right? Avoidance and blame gets you nowhere. Comfort says, I would rather isolate than to face the fact that maybe I'm not as easy to love as I think. Right? And I feel like for me, that one probably is one that hits the hardest. Right? This is, when you start to notice that you're pulling back, you start ghosting people, you start staying in your corner, afraid that somebody might see your flaws and call you out. Right? SZA's song, what's it called? Good Days. Right? She talks about retreating and overthinking and hiding from the world, waiting for validation instead of facing yourself. Right? Isolation feels safe, but isolation keeps you stuck. Yeah. Growth hits differently, right? Growth is different. There's something different when it comes to growing and being willing to grow. Growth says, I'm willing to catch myself even when it hurts. Thank you. Growth says, I'm willing to name the patterns that I keep repeating, even if it's messy, even if it's uncomfortable. Growth says, I'll face the heartbreak, the disappointment. Hey, Rose. Growth says I'll face the truth about me because I want better than what's familiar. I want evolution. Right? Some real life examples, because I want to make sure that I make this make sense for us. When we think about dating, right? You break up, you swore off dating somebody else like your ex, but then someone comes along with the same traits and your old habits pull you back in. That's comfort, not love. Work. You stay in a dead-end job, complaining about your boss, even though every, new responsibility is an opportunity for your growth. Comfort tells you, that it's safer to stay stuck. Don't advance. Don't apply for the new position. Don't take the lead. It's like I'd rather blame my boss or my coworkers rather than admitting the fact that I don't like responsibility. J. Cole's song, Middle Child, he talks about feeling stuck between ambition and responsibility, reminding us that, comfort is always easier than accountability, but that doesn't make it right. We talked about The Office with Michael constantly blaming the world for his failures. We laugh, but did anybody ever catch the lesson? Because it's so clear that avoiding responsibility keeps you stuck, no matter how funny it looks. Hey, Koja. In friendships, you stay mad at a friend for years instead of confronting the issue, because comfort has told you why risk the argument. But growth tells you, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and talk it out. I'm going to risk it because what I want is a real connection. Right? That's what we all want. Like I told you about in the series Euphoria with Rue. She isolated herself from friends and family. Right? Repeating her same cycles over and over again because to her comfort felt safe, even though it was so toxic for her. Right? Having to confront her inner pain, having to face those demons. And, a common one for many of us, again, is family. We keep repeating the same arguments with our parents or our siblings, sometimes even our children, expecting them to change, placing unrealistic expectations, if I'm being honest, for them to change. But in reality, growth is actually telling us that, maybe I need to check myself first. Maybe I need to break the cycle in me before I'm out here trying to figure out what everybody else should be doing, what everybody else needs to be saying. Hey, D, welcome in. So again, we've got to stop repeating these same arguments. Get off this, this cycle that is so comfortable with these bad behaviors and these negative behaviors. I want you guys to think about one area where you've chosen comfort over growth. And when you start thinking about that, I want you to also think about, what does it cost you? What is it costing you? Staying stuck isn't about weakness. It's bigger than that. It's about choosing, what feels safe over what feels real. And I tell you guys time and time again, growth isn't comfortable. Growth will slap you in the face, make you cry, make you confront yourself. But growth is the only way that you can break the cycle, to heal the trauma and show up as the best version of you. Comfort feels easy, but comfort keeps you in chains. Growth, although it may hurt, it sets you free. And again, you guys, let's be real. Healing isn't neat. It's not pretty, right? It doesn't follow a timeline. It is messy. It is uncomfortable. But if you want to break the cycle, if you want to stop repeating habits and patterns and these, series of bad behaviors, right, that keep hurting you, you have to learn to sit with the mess. Welcome in, Purple Sunflower. And when I say sit with the mess, I mean feeling the discomfort instead of, scrolling past it in your phone. I'm talking about facing the ugly truths about your choices, your patterns, and your role in the chaos, even when it stings. It might look like crying in your car after a fight. It could look like journaling at 2 a.m., screaming in the pillow when nobody's listening, because that's where our reflection begins. Think about the moments, where you catch yourself in another bad relationship cycle. You see the red flags, you know the type that you're drawn to, and yet somehow you show up anyway. You wonder, why do I keep attracting the same chaos? That's the mess, right? Your past and your patterns showing up in your present pain. In the friendships, right? You have a friend that got upset with you recently. Maybe you dismissed their feelings or brushed off their concern, and now there's tension between you. That's the mess talking. You've avoided accountability because it was easier than comfort, but now you're sitting with the fallout. Remember at work, we're constantly blaming our boss, we're blaming the system for our stagnation, but deep down, you know that you've been half engaged. You've been showing up late. Hey, Paris. You've been avoiding responsibility, right? So these missed opportunities, that frustration you feel, it's not them. Honey, it's you. And that realization, it hurts. It's messy. But you got to own it. And then back to family, right? Old patterns repeat like clockwork. Maybe you argue, like I said, with a parent, with a sibling, maybe your children, right? The same way that, our parents used to. Or you catch yourself lashing out at them in the same way that your own trauma has taught you to. That mirror can be painful. Trust me, I know. I've had my own mirror moment this weekend raising a teenage boy. And I saw things that I thought that I left in my childhood, in my past, things that he could not even know about. But I had to sit in the mirror and I had to look at me. And it was not comfortable. It was not pretty. Like there was some serious, ugly crying. But it was necessary. Because I want to grow. I want to be better. And I'm not saying that we're going to be perfect at anything, because what is perfect? Like, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that looks like or how to define it for you. But we can strive to be better. Not better than someone else, but better than the person that we were yesterday. And that starts with us sitting in the mess. Right? Resisting the urge to run away from it, to stop ghosting, stop blaming, stop numbing with food or shopping or endless doom scrolling on social media. It means stopping the cycles of distraction, right? Stop picking fights with people just to avoid the introspection. Stop pretending that everything is fine when you know that it's not. Exactly. It means to mature. Sitting with our mess also means feeling all the feelings at once. The frustration, the shame, the sadness, the anger, the relief. Y'all, when I say this weekend, I felt all the feels. I felt all of them. I literally felt like, I don't even know how to put it into words. It was almost like the movie Inside Out. When I say I felt all the feels this weekend. Sometimes you have to let yourself feel fully without hiding it, without explaining it. You just got to feel it. And here's the real gift. When you sit with the mess, when you face your truths, when you finally stop pointing fingers, stop hiding behind the excuses, that's where the transformation begins. That's where the real healing lives. That's where you stop being the passenger in your life and you actually take the wheel. Sitting with your mess isn't pretty. It's not polished. It is messy. It is raw. It is chaotic. And oftentimes it's painful. I'm not even going to lie to you. But it is the only way that you break free from repeating cycles. It is the only way that you can stop carrying this unhealed trauma into every new chapter of your life and finally show up as the most authentic version of you. So today, I just want you to pause. I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to look into the mirror. And I want you to sit with whatever's there, no matter how messy it is. Because that discomfort that you feel, that honesty, that's the freedom that is waiting on you. But you have to stop ignoring it. You cannot keep pretending that everything is okay when everything inside of you is screaming it is not okay. Now listen, I know that I spent a lot of time stepping on y'all's toes today because Lord knows I done got mine stepped on here recently. But I got one final toe step for y'all. And at least I'm warning y'all. I mean, how often does life warn us it's about to beat us up? It don't. Right? So I warned you. We had disclaimers throughout, but y'all know everything I do comes with a little aftercare. I'm not going to leave you hanging, y'all. But let's keep it simple, right? Let's go back to where it all started today. Shade is easy to throw, but it is the hardest thing you'll ever catch. Okay? And it's so necessary because until you can actually catch it, until you can actually sit with the mess, you're going to keep living the same year on repeat. It is like Groundhog's Day. So you have to be willing to catch it, right? Otherwise, like I said, you're going to keep living the same year on repeat, calling it growth when really it's just a loop, a toxic one at that. So today, I dare you. I dare you to do the messy work. Hold the mirror, catch yourself, and say it with your chest. It's me, but I refuse to stay the same me. Yes, it's me, but I refuse to stay the same me. And y'all, let's be real. Shade is calorie free, but it'll still leave you full. Right? People be allergic to accountability, but never attention. Have you noticed that? Like everybody's allergic to accountability, but everybody loves some attention. It's funny how, people can't keep a promise, but they sure can't keep up with your business. Yeah, y'all don't never notice that? Some people are like Wi-Fi, if I think about it. Always connected to the wrong signal. Right? It's like, it's just never quite right. Their piece is prepaid, and all of a sudden now, like, your drama is just on auto renew over and over and over again. For me, it's giving lukewarm tea with a splash of envy. But, the bigger truth outside of all of that, you guys, you can't control what other people do, but you can control what you do. You can control your energy, your actions, your boundaries, your growth. You can stop giving the same power to people. to situations, and to the patterns that no longer serve you. And again, catching yourself, that shade that is yours to own, it's not cute, it's messy, it's uncomfortable. You're going to see things that you don't like. You're going to be confronted by behaviors that you've justified, mistakes that you've repeated over and over again, right? Ways that you've hurt other people and yourself. And all of that's okay. That's the point. And I want you to sit with it. And I want you to acknowledge it. And I want you to own it. And even then, you do something different. You choose to do something different. You choose to act differently. You choose growth, even when it hurts. And when nobody else understands what's happening, and even when it feels easier to stay stuck. Today, ask yourself, who or what are you still holding accountable for the things that you have kept recreating? What patterns have you normalized so much that they've just become familiar? It's like second nature. Today, look at one uncomfortable truth about yourself that you've been running from. Ask yourself, what's one messy step that I can take today to own it? What's one thing that I can do different today? Thank you, Rachel. Growth doesn't happen in neat little packages, guys. We have to do the work. It doesn't happen when you're avoiding yourself and blaming everybody else. It happens in the mud, in the tears, in the moments where you finally stop looking out there and you start looking in here. I want you guys to breathe. I want you guys to spend time reflecting. Most importantly, I want you guys to spend time growing. I want you to be messy enough to be honest with yourself. Be bold enough to hold the mirror, call yourself out and say, you know what? I see me, I own me, and I refuse to stay the same me. Y'all throw some green hearts in the chat if I stepped on your toes today, but I woke up something inside of you. And, share this podcast out with somebody else who might need a little tough love today. Remember, shade might be easy to throw, but catching yourself is everything. And that's where true freedom lives. That's where real healing begins. And that's where you'll finally be able to show up for you. Now, as always, y'all, before we part ways, I'm going to leave y'all with a little love and light. As always, I encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, through the lows, and every single messy little moment in between. I want you guys to keep choosing peace, even if it feels a little out of reach. And to know that here at the Self-Care Club, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. So don't be afraid to take up space, speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I pray that each and every one of you have an amazing day that is not, just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. Be real enough to stop the loop. Be bold enough to start the work. And until next time, this has been another Room to Breathe podcast, and I cannot wait to connect with you all again soon. Thank you.